want to switch the conversation now to kind of the subject because I had promised the audience Russophobia. You know that Matt Taibbi has been instrumental in, helping unveil and unroll the Twitter files and really exposing Hamilton 68, which propagated this myth that Russia had a bunch of bots and was trying to influence the election. There was a bunch of Russophobia. Rachel Maddow was screeching in everyone's living room every single night, Russiagate, Russiagate, Russiagate. And one of the architects was Charlie McGonigal, who is an FBI agent, right? That you knew. And ironically has just been arrested for what? Taking money, and not very much money, by the way, a Russian oligarch, and ended his career and is now facing prison. Could you, this is amazing, along with all the revelations. Could you talk a little bit to our audience about your experience working around the whole Russiagate debacle and, going after Trump and going after everyone, and you knew Charlie McGonigal. So
yeah. So, I worked with Charlie. He was actually my supervisor at headquarters when I was working within the Counterintelligence Division. And we were working Far East Asian affairs at that time. And the one thing I can say about Charlie is, his two best friends within the FBI at that time were Peter Strzok and Andy McCabe. So that's all you need to know about Charlie. Charlie was a great guy, right? Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted to shake his hand. And I have a problem with that. Anybody that sticks his hand out that much to shake people's hands means that they've got something up their sleeve. He always wanted to be everybody's friend. And I actually tested him one day just to see how mad I could get him. And it really took a lot to get him upset because I wanted to see exactly who I was dealing with at the time. And I had only been there like 3 months. And nobody that I have ever met in the FBI is, particularly that nice. And we always had a saying within the FBI, if you weren't getting in trouble, you weren't doing your job, right? And when I say that, I mean, not seriously in trouble where you're disciplined, in a hearing, but, hey, you get called into the supervisor's office, say, hey, you pushed the limit a little bit on that one, right? Well, sometimes FBI agents have to push the limit a little bit to try to get to the truth, right? And
you are from New Jersey, so
yeah, well, exactly right. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm a New York guy. I've been in New York all my life. But I mean, what I'm saying is that we've got a lot of slugs within the FBI, right? That leave slime trails from chair to chair. They don't do anything. They're not out there actively working, right? They're just sucking off the system like a politician. And as long as they don't get in trouble, and as long as nobody knows who they are, like Chris Smith, nothing's ever going to happen to them. But it's the guys that are out there that are pounding the pavement, that are doing the job for the American people and keeping the American people safe. Those are the good guys, right? Those are the guys that don't want to go into management. Those are the guys that want to stay on the street. And I don't want to get too far off the Charlie McGonigal thing. But again, getting back to Charlie wanting to be everybody's friend, maybe that was his hook, right? So he was hoping that by, leaning the Democratic side and Charlie told me basically that he, came from a Democratic family within the Cleveland area, that by, basically staying on that side and knowing that the higher you went within the FBI, the more Democratic it got. And I saw it firsthand at the end of my career, how the basically Democratic supervisors were shutting out good conservative agents from getting promoted, right? And pushing them out the door, and really only agents that they felt leaned Democratic were getting promoted to the top. So I guess
you feel like the Democratic Party has weaponized intelligence services to an extent.
Absolutely. I believe that the FBI right now is a cold-hearted intelligence service only right now within upper management, right? And they're controlling the strings. And when I say that, I mean that they are actively digging up information on American citizens without warrants. That's not their job, right? And you see that it's all in open source information. We see how Peter Strzok manipulated the FISA process and lied on a FISA, and nothing happened to him, right? Yeah, he got fired, but he also got to keep his pension. What is that? That's not right. Andy McCabe got fired for lying, right? This lack of candor. And if you're not following Steve Friend, who is a whistleblower, within the
Oh, yeah.
FBI. He is releasing, right, information on Twitter right now, from what we used to call the quarterly scare reports, right? These are quarterly emails that we would get from OPR, which is basically the Office of Professional Management, for agents that would get in trouble. And it would tell you why they got in trouble, what their discipline was, and basically how it was adjudicated. Well, Steve Friend is releasing those documents now, like one a day or something like that. And they're, it brings me back. Yeah, they're quite interesting because I used to see them every quarter, and they try to scare agents straight, to keep them in line. And that's basically the way the Democrats operate. They want to scare you and keep you in line. And, that's not the way the FBI was set up. The FBI was set up so that, agents had the freedom to go out and get the job done and come back and make arrests. And that's not what we're getting. But with Charlie McGonigal, I mean, this is a man who basically started Crossfire Hurricane with an email. So was he directed to send the email, or did he do this on his own? These are questions that we need to ask. And
Explain Crossfire Hurricane. Explain
yeah,
that.
sure. So basically, it's basically the spy operation against the Donald Trump campaign, right? All of the individuals within the Donald Trump campaign that the government was spying on, this is what started this, right? With some intelligence officer from Australia who had information and brought that information to the FBI, and that's basically what got this all rolling. And I don't believe that any of that was true. I think it was just pure Barack Obama using, the intelligence service to spy on Americans, and he was using Comey to do it. Now, I had a conversation with somebody else online who said, "Oh, Comey is a Republican." Comey's not a Republican. He may say he's a Republican, but everything he's ever done or said and all of his actions always come back to the Democratic Party. And his wife is a staunch Democrat who was friends with Hillary Clinton. So,
Really? She was friends with Hillary Clinton.
yeah, well, I mean, let's face it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a buddy system
We all
here.
go to dinner together. I mean, do you feel like sort of it's a uniparty on some level, or do you see where do
Yes.
you see the divide? Where does the divide happen? Because to those of us that are just kind of regular citizens out in the world, it just feels like, okay, we're at war with Russia. Okay, now we're going to fight China. Okay, now we're going to fight Russia. But it's like always kind of the same endless war, whether it's Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. You know what I mean? So like what and the same policies and nothing happens. So is there a truth to the uniparty in your opinion?
Yeah, I believe there's a uniparty because it's not just the Democrats that want to get rich, it's the Republicans that want to get rich too, right?
Okay.
Now, we have some good people now within the Republican Party who are fighting, right, to get things done, but we don't have enough of them. And they're not, they're big, we look at this guy, Adam Kinzinger. He was the biggest scumbag within the party system. And Liz Cheney is the second biggest scumbag. Of course, there's going to be some debate about that, right? But I mean, these are two individuals who had no purpose being within the Republican Party. And they were there for the sole purpose of getting rich. Liz Cheney learned it from her dad. And who knows what Adam Kinzinger was doing? I mean, that guy's not qualified to sell ice cream, for crying out loud. But the fact of the matter is that, yeah, there is a uniparty and they work together hand in hand. Yeah, when the bill comes to the floor, they fight. And like Chris Smith, I know Chris Smith like the back of my hand. He'll stand up there and he'll gavel down or he'll do whatever. And he'll cast his vote against whatever the Democrats have brought forward and all. But he'll cross the aisle every now and then, especially when it comes to a $3.8 billion spending plan or something like that, like he did last year, and pass that sucker along. Well, guess what? My kids and my grandkids are going to be paying for that bill for the rest of their lives.